Hello, it's Tamara Hunter, and today is day number 174 of 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. And we have Loren Harris with us, our service hero. Let me tell you a little bit about Loren, and then we're going to talk. And oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. This man is making a difference. And you know what 3 years can do. You can go from one area in your life and then you can turn it 180 around and you can make it a life that's going to make a difference. And that's what this man is doing. He's doing it with so many different areas that, oh my gosh, it's like we just need a little bit of time. And so we can explore how he is being a service hero to so many. I just want to say hello. Now, I already saw you this morning because you have your morning show. And yet it was a little different. You had a bathrobe on at that time, didn't you, Loren?
Am I on with you right now?
Yeah, you're on. You're on.
I'm digging my desk and stuff, thinking I'm still in the lobby.
No, you're here with me. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
Was I live the whole time?
Yeah, you were.
Now she tells me. I'm kidding. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I had a bathrobe on because that's my morning gig, Bathrobe Moments. It's also my nighttime gig, a couple nights a week with Bathrobe Moments After Dark with Charles Maddox. But yeah, I mean, I'm naturally lazy, so to be able to find a way to work without having to change or anything. Hi, Ann Hoy. But that's not really how it happened. I'll tell you real quickly how the bathrobe thing came about, and that was 3 years ago. When I was first getting started, all it took, honestly, was for my now husband to give me a book that I, to this day, still have not completely finished reading. But it was about how to discover the message within yourself and get it out there. And it wasn't that I needed to know how. I just needed to know someone believed that I could and that my message was worthy of being told. I just needed one person. I had no idea. And so Brian gave me this book, and I was standing right here, right next to this spot right here. And I was like asking God, I was like, well, I need something to start my day, because it was like around 10 a.m. at this point, and I was still dragging booty. I had my coffee, I was still in my robe, and I just couldn't get motivated. And I felt so inauthentic. I was like, how in the heck am I supposed to be, launching this motivational career, and I can't even get myself motivated? And I was like, man, and I instantly heard the voice tell me, well, then as quickly as possible, you need to make your day about someone or something other than yourself. And I was like, well, how? And I heard again, go live. And I was like, but I don't have a green screen. I don't have a fancy microphone. I don't even have a stand to put my phone in, or blah, blah, blah. I was looking for every excuse. And something said to me, why don't you focus on what you do have? Before you worry about having dollars, why don't you look around and count your pennies? They have value too. And to this day, I do that every day. I wake up and I look for the pennies in my world, because I've learned that, even if it's just a matter of stacking them, 5 here, 5 there, eventually I'll get 50. And then I can roll them. Now I have a roll of pennies. But in order to understand that everything in my world is of value, I need to reach for those things. I need to be grateful for those things. Every penny is a penny. It's a penny I don't have to have. It's a penny I still have a responsibility to do something with. So, hi, Shannon Hughes. How are you? And you can give me back my biceps at any time that you have in that profile picture. I wondered where those were. I laid them down, and Shannon Hughes picked up my arms and put them on. So anyway, so what happened was I looked at what I had that day. I had on a bathrobe. I had a message. I had this mug. And to this day, this is my sidekick, my Ed McMahon, Lucy McGillicuddy, Ricardo. And we sit down every day, Monday through Friday, and we talk to people about what it is that they're doing to have an impact in this world. And to remind people that every moment you've ever lived has established you as an authority in everything that did not kill you. You are now an authority of. So
Absolutely.
that's why I have the bathrobe moment. It's just basic.
I love it. And hello, Charles,
Hi,
and hello, Loren.
hi,
Um,
Lauren.
Good to see everybody here. I absolutely love your show, and I'm in the Pacific time zone, and so I'm up, and I'm up early, and so I do get a notification, and I try to hop on it as much as possible, and I have to say this morning's show was so much fun and so impactful. You brought us through a wide range of emotions with your guest, Alexander, and you have a real way of being able to do that. And so your morning epiphany, if you will, aha, the light goes on moment 3 years ago is benefiting so many people. What a service hero. And that I love it, and sorry that you didn't know that we went live, right there where you were listening to me give you all the kudos, because you know what I love about it? It shows that you are a real person, because now 3 years later, you have all this going on. You've got, you're a keynote speaker. You've got programs out there. You are a master teacher. You have shows. You have, a number of them, and you're on this magazine. You're getting all of this love and praise, if you will, and here you were 3 years ago, trying to figure out exactly. You had a message, you had a mission, you had a purpose, but how were you going to go about it? I love it. I love it.
Tamara, the thing about that moment that you just described that I want to make sure I hit on it real quick, just really quickly, because somebody out there is feeling what I know they're waiting and hoping I say something about, and this is that. Yeah, 3 years ago, there was a heaviness within my journey. The heaviness, it felt like I was dragging my past. It felt like my pockets were weighed down. It felt like, my spirit was overweight. It was all those uncomfortable heaviness things, all the things that are the opposite of when things have been freed, things have been lifted, things have been removed, things are being given away, all the things that joy is something that just, it's like a firework shooting up and out. That's what joy feels like in my world. So that's where I was. I was at a place, and I realized it was because I was experiencing overflow. I was experiencing both sides of the equation. I was being blessed, and I was becoming the blessing. And once you become the blessing, the only way to effectively continue in that vein, to be congruent, is to be hot or cold, consistent, and not lukewarm. One day on, one day off. Is your pockets, everything about you will start feeling like it's heavy, because you have to give away. You have to find ways to give it away. And the moment I started doing that, doors swung open. They still are. I have never once since that day, August 16th, 2016, not once since that day have I gone to sleep or awakened where, say, today was the day I did a speech, and what's next? I don't know. When is something else going to happen? No, there has been something in front of every opportunity. As soon as one finishes, there's 2 or 3 other things in front of me, being laid in front of me. Because all those years where I thought I was climbing up and lifting one leg up to move, to make sure that one foot moved in front of the other. Because, people, we hear all the time, to put your best foot forward. Well, your best foot is the one that you just most recently moved. It doesn't matter if it's your left or your right, because as long as you move one of them in front of the other, I don't care how small the baby step is or how large the giant step is, a step is a step, and you're going to get somewhere eventually.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm so glad you put that, because you know that weight. I know so many people are saying, "Yeah, I am hearing you, Loren, right now." And I'm not only hearing you, I'm feeling it this moment.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of a new year, what an opportunity for so many people as they're reflecting their life and saying, "Okay, yes, thank you 2018. Thank you for the lessons. Thank you for what you've done. Now, welcome 2019. How is that going to look?" And what an opportunity for people to say, okay, I too am at that moment in time, and I'm having that bathrobe moment that he's talking about.
Yeah.
And I want to do something to get off that take that weight off now too.
Right.
Okay, I want to talk about you have so many different things going on, but I really want to talk about the projects that you work with the youth.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the power of we symposiums and symposium. You have a true love for the youth, don't you?
I do. I
Why,
do.
why don't you talk about that before we get into what the power of we is all about? I'd like to know your internal that passion, that love that you have.
Well, it's a couple of different things. The first thing is, it's for me personally, every time I work with the youth, it transports me to Neverland. Because those of you who know my story, who have seen the Goldcast video, or have seen me speak from the stage, you know about my 22 homes in the foster system. You know that, I entered at 9, and, my adoptive mom died, and all that what happened. And in a lot of ways, that day that happened for me, because that's what events are, those pain moments, we wake up one version of ourselves, and we are never to wake up that person again. Well, I was 9 when that happened. And when I do like what you're looking at on the screen, when I'm around that life force, which are not just any kind of kids, these are kids that have, and all kids, when they talk about special needs or whatever, every kid, it should be special needs, because every kid is special and every kid has needs. So
Yes.
who of us isn't special needs? I'm glad to be special needs. So you see, so I'm looking at them, and I'm able to go back and receive some of the stuff that had to be shut down in my world in order for me to listen to the universal GPS system that was guiding me through a place filled with landmines. Because in there with us, kids that come through the sort of thing that I'm talking about here are all kinds of things that if you don't have something with you from the first step forward, it's very easy to come out with things that you never come back from. And it happens to too many kids. And so something was with me, I'm doing air quotes, was with me from the very start. And when I am around these kids and we look at each other, we don't have to tell our stories. I can look at them and they can look at me, and we can, it's an unspoken agreement that I already know. I know what that room of purpose that you're dealing with right now in your 12 or 14-year-old life. I know that room because I felt the carpet of that room underneath my feet many times. I know the color of those walls without even looking. I can touch them and know exactly where you're living, where you're sitting, where you're existing. And when sometimes with kids, that's all they need. Their number one request nowadays is that they want, and it's a demand, they want to be respected, which means they want to be heard. And, it's nice to be able to speak with young people and not at young people. I'm going to be honest with you, Tamara. All I do in my world, and no matter what sector or what faction, is I look for something that when I was there, or that was me, I look for things. I try to provide things that were not available to me. And many of them are still not available. And that's how I know the work wasn't anyone else's. It must mean that it was mine, or else someone would have done it already. I believe in my own never-ending story. I believe that we are each chosen if we believe enough to choose in return that it's possible to be, what's his name? Bastion. We can be our own little versions of Bastion from the Never-Ending Story, where you're responsible for something that no one else in history will ever be responsible. If you don't get it here, it won't get here. I experienced that in my early 20s, before the drug addiction, before going off to prison, and all those things happened to me. I was still in People magazine. It's upstairs in my home right now. No one will ever be able to take that accomplishment away from me. They couldn't take it away when I was in the heat of a 14-year addiction. It was always there to remind me, I know you may think you can't get up, you won't return, but I need you to get up anyway. I need you to come back anyway. Why do you think I showed you, Loren, what you were capable of? That was a dress rehearsal in 1988 when I gave you the world's very first apology service. It wasn't to make you rich. It wasn't to make you famous. It was to prepare you for things you could have never believed, because it didn't come from you. It came through you, because I dreamed it in my sleep. So I know I had nothing to do with it. And there it was when there was no internet. It was something that had never been in this world until I brought it here. And so today I get to understand it isn't about things. It isn't about accolades. It's not about fame or fortune. It is not about running credit cards, getting people to buy my this or buy my that. It is about rendering testimonials from experiences with people, where people can say, I don't want people to say, oh, I went and saw Loren at the Forum, or I saw Loren's show on television last night. No, I want them to say it was a Wednesday when I heard these words come from something that I heard, or that, that I was responsible for, that together we were responsible for. I want to hear people say, once I learned that, or once I experienced that, the road of experience, my journey, it's that in between. What did it cause you to do? What did it speak to you? How did it help you become actionable? I believe that our greatest rewards, our greatest accomplishments will never be attached to a routing number. They'll never be attached to account numbers. They'll come in the form of a face that looks vaguely familiar, because that was the person you put a blanket over on a park bench 36 years ago. And you just don't remember exactly why, because we got to stay humble. But there's something about it that I know that person. Could that be? I have a song on my album called Sasha Lost, about a girl that I met on the street in New York. And, when we went back to help her, she was gone. And I just can't get Sasha off my mind. But then Sasha gave me something that ended up being a message, a song, and then a video, and this and the other. And I know the day will come where I will meet her, and I'll find out what happened with her story. And it's just, it's Tamara, it's purpose. Yes. And it's like being on, it's like what's the best way? Those scavenger hunts where
yes.
You have a list and you're looking for all these things. Get up every day. If we get up every day and we compare lists with each other, and I've already found this here, have some of mine. And you say, I think I saw what you're looking for. What's next on your list? Right around that corner. Go look by that tall oak tree. I think you'll find exactly what you're looking for.
Yes.
We get so much further together. We always will, which is the power of we, than we ever will individually. And the minute we
absolutely love it. Yes, go ahead.
No, but I'm just saying, the minute we lose Marsha, I love the Bradys just like everybody else. Love them all. Here's a story of a man named Brady. But you know what? Marsha, one of the most poignant lines ever delivered on that show. Because that is the thing that it will stop all of us. It'll make us think that I'm in competition with Tamara Hunter. And then Tamara Hunter's in competition with Loren West. And Loren West is in competition with Chuck Princeton. No, we're not in competition with anybody. We're in competition with time. That's the only opponent that has beaten everybody ever in history and will continue to. There's nobody who has outlived time. So that means we want to get it done. And I'm 56 years old. I'll be 57 on the 4th of July. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not crazy enough to believe that I have more time ahead of me than I have behind me. You see what I'm saying? Come on now. Am I really going to live to be 120? No. So most likely not. So there's a universal urgency behind everyone's purpose. You know why?
Absolutely.
There is.
Absolutely.
There is. Because the law of attraction is already moving people into place at intersections of opportunity where you are already destined to be at that corner, waiting for them, or they waiting for you, and you're going to pass. And what about those who get there and they're looking around, yelling at what they know to be greater than them, saying, where is this woman named Tamara Hunter? You said she'd be here. But Tamara in the mirror going, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest of them all? You see, Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. And I'm sorry to use you in the example, but you're right here.
Yeah, that's all right, because that's my mirror would say, wait a minute, I haven't seen her that much lately.
But you get what I'm saying, right?
No, I get it. Absolutely. In fact, I don't want to ignore everybody here, because we have so many people that have been commenting. They love what you're saying. Happy New Year, Charles. Glad to see you out of the hospital. Yes. Loren, so true. Absolutely true. And of course he loves you, and I know he was back there with you at the Power of We, right?
Yes. Charles Princeton is actually he's our main stage MC at the Power of We Atlanta.
I love Charles. He and I have a love fest because we have a lot of things in common, and he's just amazing man coach.
Keep your eyes on Princeton, I'm telling you.
Oh, I keep my eye on him all the time, because he's one of my buddies. And blessings to you. Good to see you, Hermilo. Good to see you. And yes, so true. I love his pearls of wisdom. And often when I just need to hear that Ola, the Polynesian way of saying it, because he always says it in such a great way when it comes from his voice. And Sharon is actually one of my. She's actually our chemo buddy ambassador. She's our senior ambassador for our Chemo Buddies for Life Coalition. And to let you know, I would love for you to understand her story, Loren, because it talks about how any group of people can band together and start rising up together. That's the whole key. Yep. And Sharon is someone that now on an international level, she is helping our buddies. And yet she is a stage 4 that is a shut-in. She's not even allowed in her backyard. Yet she is all over the world affecting the lives of others. And people know her. People know Sharon.
Sharon, what's her last name?
Ward. Her name is Sharon Ward. Well, yeah. And they know her because she will contact people. She's there for them. She loves them. And yet she does it all through Facebook, all through the digital medium. And you will not see her, but you'll hear her voice. Oh. And that is what the buddies are all about. See, you're talking my language. And so I wanted to highlight her to you, Loren, and so you can meet her.
To connect with her.
And she'll connect with you. Trust me. Loren or Sharon, you've been given your task. Okay. In our past. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's Sharon Nichols.
I see
Ward.
it.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Sharon.
Yes. She will. She is amazing. That woman is amazing. She keeps the buddies in line. They'll all tell you. And she was saying when you were talking testimony is so important. Our testimonies, our hearts, and she knows, she's been through it too. We so many of us have our stories.
Everybody.
Exactly. And you
stop right there. Let me just say something, because that right there that came out of you. When you said, what you just said, and then we went, everybody. You know why? Because that means that there's somebody listening, most likely more than one, who really didn't get that. This is what you need to remember. You would not question that you or Sharon or any of us each has our own set of fingerprints, would you? You'd say no. Right now you're saying no. We all have those that prove that we're absolutely unique. You wouldn't question the principle of DNA, that yes, there is a piece of hair or a follicle or a bodily fluid or a skin cell is unique to each and every one of us, traces everything back to us. You wouldn't question that. So if you think that you don't have a story and the rest of us do, then why don't you think that you have, DNA and fingerprints that match somebody else's and makes you no different? Because if you have fingerprints that are unique, if you have DNA that is unique, you have to have a story that is unique. No two are the same. And those two, the fingerprints and the DNA, when we die and transition, they go with us. It is our stories are the only things that differentiate who we are, that get the chance to live on. They get to time travel. They get to cover everything, the past, the now, the future. There is nothing else in the universe that never changes or goes away but the truth. Only the truth. And your story is your truth. So every single one of us has one. Every day you've lived has been on purpose. Everything that happened in that day, there were centuries of events that had to happen to make that moment. People, you know that just from the story of what it takes for us to become an embryo. Look at the battle. And it wasn't just there. It was long before that. And the reason I'm going on and on about that, and I'm going to stop about it, so I want you to remember something. When you look at your story, remember, you came into the story with every prop, with every script, with every co-star, with everything you needed to write the chapter of romance, to provide that chapter of thrills and spills, to provide that comedy and that relief that comes from joy and laughter. All of the emotional elements that make every great story, number one, a classic, and number two, a page turner. It is when we stop writing with that belief that you write a dime store novel, when you write something that qualifies as a tract or a pamphlet, and you wonder why no one wants to tell it over and over, why no one's putting it up on the top of their library bookshelf, why it hasn't been covered in beautiful leather and gold embossed words. Because you write a classic, you get a classic. You leave a classic. If you don't, you won't. And so you can't leave anything out. You can't care about, well, if they learn about this in chapter 9, they'll never make it to chapter 12. They can't know that I got pregnant at 15. They can't know that I've had 3 failed marriages. They can't know that I have a child that's hooked on heroin. What would they think? And what would they think of me? You're now skirting in horrible, horrible, dangerous waters, because now you're deciding what's worthy of the story and what isn't. You do not get to choose. You know why, you guys? Because our lives, everything that we've made it through, we made it through because of integrity. We made it through because of things known as principles. All the things that got us through are based on laws of principalities. And you know, those principles are things that we don't get to break, but we can break ourselves against them by playing around with them, trying to move them around like they're a Rubik's Cube. Get up every day and just be the very best version of you, which means you have to experience some darkness in order to be able to sing the praises of the light. You have to be able to hit a few sour notes to know what it's like to hit that Mariah Carey note, even if it's just one good time. You have to know, because here's the formula. Every time you go through something, you come out the other side. Now you know, because you went through it. You could have stayed, you could have went around it, you could have got over it, you could have tried to get from underneath it, but you would not have gone through it. But when you go through, now you know. So once you go, then you know, comes the third part and the best part, where you get to become the blessing, because you picked up a blessing. So now you get to show. You get to show other people. You get to show the world what they're missing. You get to show. That's why when you're within the arms of purpose, the very first thing you want to do is get out of that room you're in, because you can't wait to get out and give what you just received away. It isn't Marsha. You don't try to hide it. You don't try to hoard it. You don't have a death grip. You have your hand, your heart, and your everything open, because everything is moving through you, not coming from you. It's a wonderful way to move through your journey purposefully. Not placing blame, but reinventing blame. Thanking everything that tried to stop you. Because if you had knocked me down, I wouldn't know that I have what it takes to get back up. Because I'd have never been down. I'd rather know all the things that pain and all the things that going through trials and tribulations have taught me now. I'm glad I have that at my disposal as I get older, as I near what's next. I'm glad I'm getting it at this time of my life. I wouldn't want it in reverse, where I was careless and didn't realize purpose. And now I've already screwed off everything. It's okay. Don't worry about your baggage. You're supposed to have baggage. Have you ever gone on a dream trip, the trip of a lifetime? Would you carry just a piece of carry-on? Or would you back it every bag you have? If you're going around the world, how many bags are you going to need? Be proud of your baggage. Just make sure that you have one set where every piece matches. Then you know you are carrying your own baggage and not that of everything and everybody else in the world. You can't get out of the airport if you don't have a plane ticket for everything you're taking with you. You just take what matches and what has your name on it. You're going to see that baggage is something good. You packed it for a reason.
Absolutely. You know, now I absolutely love, I mean, you know, like it is said that you are motivational and inspirational. Absolutely, without a question. There we go. Because, you know, you start a message and you have more than the message coming through. You have your heart, you have your soul, you have your passion, you have all of that energy that is inside, and you are sharing it with the world. And that is a gift. That is such a unique gift, and you've got it.
Oh, thank you so much, Tamara. We all do.
I agree. I absolutely agree. In fact, my message is that we have a service hero inside of us. Each of us does. And I say that because, and I say it simply, but it's not so simple sometimes, because you get this because of the people that you work with and are helping and are mentoring. Sometimes that's the last thing that they may actually ever think. Oh, I've got a service hero. I'm going to serve another. Okay, yeah, right. You know, and yet when they start, sometimes when you lose yourself in serving others, that's when you can find yourself. And that sometimes is the missing piece that they just don't get yet, because they haven't had that opportunity to have the mentors. Like what your program is doing is going out there and raising the awareness, working with these, if you will, inner city kids, right?
Yes.
And where you're serving, and you most recently have been in Chicago where you had a program, and then you're going to be taking it on the road to Atlanta in April, correct? And
correct.
So you'll be helping them. And I love the fact that you are doing that, because, you know, if we can start helping one person at a time. It takes that one domino. And look, you know, when they make those huge domino, like a building on the ground, or it's a whole gymnasium, it just takes one.
That's right.
To affect
You're right.
them all.
Yes.
And I love that. Okay, so what I'd like to do, okay, we've got so many people that have given us comments, and I love it. You definitely have inspired so many. And I'm going to say this here. Let me get it in the right format here, you know. And it's, you know, absolutely. Now, you're out there. You're an influencer. You've worked with so many different coaches. You've you've been in front of audiences. You really get your message out, and you have done this with the help of some amazing mentors and coaches in your life, correct? And
yeah,
go ahead.
and I want to. I love this segue. I love this because I've never been able to say it quite like this. So always something wonderful about when something is a first. People remember first. But I'm going to tell you, this is the first time I've shared it like this. But when you just said that about coaches and mentors, you're absolutely right. But in my mind, I didn't automatically go to my actual 2 coaches that I've had. You know, the coaching that like I'm a coach, and so I have a coach. Right. Not those. I went to, in my mind, the people from social media that tuned in the very first day or week of Bathrobe Moments and are still there. I see some of the faces of some of those kids in that audience that we're looking at there. I'm looking at and thinking opportunities, like the day when, I'm looking at that magazine, and I remember the day someone sent me in Messenger the very first issue of that magazine, and I never got past the first words at the top because I was stuck there looking as the universe and the creator showed me what we're looking at on that screen right now, and I had a choice of believing or not. It was 3 days later from being stuck looking at another issue and it was showing me what we're looking at. It was 3 or 4 days later that the conversation happened where Vicky, right there is her name in the middle. That's the publisher, that she said, "You're the next cover of my magazine." And I'm telling you, when you start seeing all of the things, when you just mentioned the dominoes, heads up on something, people, anything that has the word effect after it, the ripple effect, the domino effect, the boomerang effect. It always talks about something that moves and finds its way around and through. It's all inclusive. It's coming back. It's karmic. It's this, it's that. When you start seeing these things, everything start lining up. Purpose is something that is so undeniable. It doesn't matter if you're a creationist or an evolutionist. You start seeing that we all have the same even footing. If you're an evolutionist or a creationist, our stories all began. That's why you have 2 choices, in the beginning or once upon a time. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how you look at the story being written. You just have to know that there is a story being written. So we're allowed to be what we need to be to get where it is we must go. It's really, really, there's nothing like it. It's what makes you keep finding ways to try to swoop all the excuses off the table like crumbs, irritating crumbs on a beautiful linen tablecloth at a 5-star dinner. You don't want crumbs, you want it off, because it's messing up the entire presentation of the main course, every course of this wonderful, wonderful thing. Everything we live is for consumption. All we have to do is make sure that we avoid 0-calorie experiences.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm writing that down right now. I love that. Yes.
Avoid 0-calorie experiences.
Yes, yes, yes.
It keeps you away from ego and self and all of the other things. Because in order to have something for the world, it must be on the positive side of the number line. Yes. It has 1 calorie. Cut that 1 up. You'll be able to cut it up. That's that story of the loaves and the fishes. Mm-hmm. You'll have enough. Don't worry about it. Just make sure you stay on the right side of the number line. Literally, the right side of the number line.
I love it. What I want to do here real quick, because I promised you we were going to try to do something before. I want to end in one area, but you mentioned your album, and I want to see if we can make this work in the technology too, guys. If not, we'll give you a way to be able to see the music video. But I am going to attempt to share his music video right now, because I watched it this morning. I was telling him, I was like humming, and it's a catchy one. We're going with the title track, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and it's called "Turn It Around." So I'm going to turn it around right now. We're going to talk, and then we're going to end it talking about the most recent project and what you're doing right now and helping people to sign up for.
No problem. And I want people, as you watch this or whenever you watch it, keep in mind the symbolism within this song is in this video is all about not letting words deceive you. Don't believe that anything that happens in your world is lucky. You'll see all kinds of things in there that refer to what things that we just automatically buy, and don't. Because if you let anything in your world that happens to you fall into the realm of happenstance, you will never understand that there is a blessing within everything. And if you miss knowing the blessing, you will miss being the blessing. Because in order to become the blessing, you have to pick up your own.
Absolutely true. So we're gonna
just think about that.
Okay, so I'm gonna take myself off the line, and we're gonna play this, and then we'll come back.
Okay. Oh wow! Look at Tamra. You're much more techie than I. Look at this. Oh, wow. Well, I see it. Oh. Can you guys hear me?
Keep searching here and there to find some words to share, to show at least that I care. I can't control it, this spark is rolling, I just keep bumping my head. I feel mistreated and my heart is bleeding. Sometimes I wish I was dead. Once you start believing the answers you're receiving, you'll finally start to turn it around.
Wow, that was great.
You're really the tech queen.
I'm learning. We had a little bit of a mistake there in the fact that, or a little bit of a learning curve in getting the sound going, but we got it going. And what do you guys think? Isn't it amazing? I mean, turn it around. I mean, I'm turning it around all over the place in my world right now. And so, and thank you for that. It's great.
Oh, thanks, Tamara. You know, it's like this. I mean, come on now. I'm 56 years old. Do you think that I'm really trying to be a pop star at this age? No. But what it is, and I'm saying this because this kind of leads into the Next Impactor, the competition. It's I'm saying, you know, I had an opportunity when I was in my 20s, but because of the depression and I was on my way towards the 14-year drug addiction when I had a spec deal with a major label, and just wasn't ready. It wasn't time for it in my life. And after that loss was when the Apology Accepted happened, where God kind of said, you know, here, let me just pick you up and soothe you a little bit. Don't worry. You're going to do something in this world. You're going to leave a mark. You're going to speak your message. Just be patient. We got some stuff to learn first. And did what a parent would do, pick me up, brush my knees off, you know, put the mercuric comb and the little scratches and sent me on my way to continue learning and growing. I want people to remember, you know, the reason I try everything and I use all the pennies in my life is because I do believe, like I said at the beginning, I don't believe that any of us is earning or learning our way towards purpose. I believe that we are remembering what we already have, remembering with what is already there, because that is the only direction of time travel that we're afforded. We can't see around the corner known as the future, so that must be for a reason. But we are allowed to go back. That's why there's rear view mirrors in the front of all windshields. So not so you can drive looking at it, but to remember that every now and then you have to remind yourself to look at where you've been. And that's why we capture, since hieroglyphics, some type of record of what has been, because that is time travel. That's what we're allowed. So it's like a pen. This pen came into my life from the factory with everything it needed to make it and keep it useful. But if I let the cap get, especially if it's a highlighter, I let the cap, and I like to use a highlighter because let's focus on the best, the highlights. So if it's a highlighter, you know, and the cap gets separated, it's going to dry out. But when we go back and we find it, when we remember the components, everything is back to where it can be useful again. So we remember ourselves. That's why you don't just pretend things don't happen. You don't go and fix things and not make amends, because that's why conscience is what's plugged into that road of remembering. It won't let you forget something. When your passion for change in this world, that thing you wake up to and go to sleep to, it's because it's branded. That's why your business is a brand. It's branded into your spirit so that you can't forget why you're here. Remember while you're here, why you're here. Because if you don't remember while you're here, you know, so your story, it's about all of it. And yep, the Next Impactor, absolutely right. And that's
so taken from, and I love the fact that we're transitioning like this because of the fact that it's taking stories, it's taking what you're talking about right now, and you right now are recruiting for, if you will, or encouraging people that have a story, that have something that they need to get out there, and who is the next great impactor that's going to. And I'm so excited to be talking about this because they're going to, however this works, and whoever wins is going to be able to win a package of services and help and working with individuals that you've worked with, correct?
Yeah.
That's worth about $250,000. That's nothing to sneeze at, right?
And the thing about it is, and you know, that's not even, you know, you got to put a value on something, because people are always focusing on trying to expose devalue.
Right.
And so it's, in other words, they're all looking for big stacks of 20s and they're stepping on pennies to get there. You know, where are the 20s? you know, and what is this under my feet? Value. Value
Right.
is value. Value doesn't come in pints, quarts, and gallons. You know, you go into it. And so this competition is based on a premise of bringing the best out of people, tricking them into believing something they can't on their own, challenging them in ways that they can't challenge themselves, and then watching what happens. I'm looking at it like this, you guys. If we look at the people that win these competitions, whether it's Survivor, whether it's all kinds of different things, AGT, all those competitions, dark horses, people that were, you know, last year I was doing this and somebody made me go to this thing and audition, and least likely people. Well, if it'll happen with a song or a dance, you better believe it can happen with a message.
Yes, I love this. I absolutely love what this is all about, because I mean, think about this. Right now 174. You're service hero number 174. Not all have been individuals. It's maybe been a service hero concept also, but the majority, let's just say even 3/4 of all the 174 to date service heroes, they're people that are out there making a difference. They're people that are influencers. They're people that have messages and a purpose and a passion to make this world a better place. Right. And to have an opportunity, guys, this is amazing, to have an opportunity to meet each other, because I think that right there, that's where everybody wins. You know, a winner and a loser. I don't look at it this way. I see that anybody that enters this competition, quote unquote competition, is going to win, because think of the relationships that will be built. Think of the alliances that will be able to be forged. Think of the business opportunities that will be able to go forward in really liked manners, because the bottom line is we are United States and we can have businesses. It's a good thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a business that has a social purpose, that has a message that is going to make a difference, boy, if we can start encouraging those kind of businesses out there all day long, I am so signed up for stuff like this, because of the fact that there's no losing. I don't see, even if you quote unquote don't get to go to the final round or however it's going to work, you don't lose in a program like this, right?
No, you do not. And I'm telling you what, we're doing things to make this so dang exciting. I want to spit every time I think about it. It's that good.
Go ahead, spit.
Yesterday, the first.
I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Well, yesterday, what we did was all the people that were already signed up to this point, and you can sign up all the way to March 15th, and be on even footing in this competition.
I was going to actually ask about that. I saw that there was something yesterday, and I wanted to see if those people, anybody was going to miss out because of not being there. Okay.
Right. Well, they kind of did, but that's how life is.
Right. Absolutely.
People are where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there, but it's not to make anyone have an added advantage or not, because you will be somewhere getting your blessing that'll even the floor while they're not there. It's not about who gets it and when they get it. It's what they do with it when they get it.
Yes.
That's what makes it different. So for instance, yesterday, and I can speak to it now because it ended 2 hours ago, but we had everybody on the screen, all the competitors were there, and we told them about how we're going to be challenging you in a whole new way, because the next impactor will not miss. That person will miss the least. They will bring the most. They will think the farthest. They will tear down walls and borders and fences that have prevented them up to this point in their life. Everything's going to change because they're going to be the thing changing it. So, for instance, we unveiled our first twist yesterday was a point system, where they've been accruing points all along. Things you didn't even know you were doing right. You were doing right. And here's what they are. So then anyway, we told them start looking everywhere, because we're going to be putting things in front of you to see if you get it. And the very first one where people can make extra points was yesterday. I posted it in their community, a beautiful, thought-provoking 3-minute video. And in there, I said things like, and it's all about hope for this new year. And I said, what's the point if we don't share with others?
Right.
And in there were hashtags. 24 hours to go, noon to noon, 50 big ones. What's the point? To see if they get it. Point system. Share it.
Right.
Why have a message if you're not going to share it? To start getting them to look at, be cognizant of what you share in your social media. It is a way for you to get inside the minds and hearts of people. So be known for sharing content that is worth always stopping what you're doing and looking at every word, because inside there will be value. Just like I'm showing you, those only 3 people out of 30 or 40 people saw it, read it all, and went inside and found the hashtags that were the clues to let them know, here are 50 points. Take these. They're yours. And the video was worthy of being spread on the first day of the year. It was worthy of being shared to give to others. But see, it was right under their noses.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen at every stage of this game.
I love it. Okay. You know what? I want to play. You know what?
Drive them into the arms of purpose. That's what it's going to do.
I love it.
That was our first twist yesterday.
I would love to just say, calling all service heroes, that anybody that's been on the Service Hero show, I'd love to see them all joining this, because how can we make a difference out there, guys? And I'm asking the question. I'd love to see some answers. How can we make a difference if we're not willing to make a difference? And I really would love to know. It's like what you were saying, Loren, about the pennies. And I so agree with you. Absolutely. That's the way I look at life. That's the way I look at our journey. And we're in it together. We can hold hands. We can bond together. And in a program like this, an opportunity, I truly, when that I put the screenshot that you had on there, there's so many, and I actually did go and look at every one of the ones that I could see, and having them introduce themselves, where they're from, and that they feel that they're going to be the next impactor. Yeah. And I thought, wow, I want to know more about you. Oh, I love your energy. I want to know more about you. Oh, wow, look at you. You're here today. And then there are the soft ones. And it's like, okay, I'm feeling that there's a lot here. And I want to get to know each and every one of you, yes, and what it is that your message is all about. So I am so thrilled that we had a chance to talk about this. I would love to know, seriously, folks, answer the question, if you think that there is a way to make a difference without us being willing to get out there and make a difference.
Right.
Because I know that's what I'm all committed. I'm committed to with my programs that I'm involved in. So I just want to say thank you for your time. I know we've taken an hour, and
no problem.
And we have some feedback, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. And I just want to end day number 174 of 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service, and say Michael Harris, right? Loren Michael Harris.
Michael's with an S, yeah.
Okay, Michael's Harris. I absolutely adore you. I absolutely want to adopt you as a brother. I absolutely think you are spectacular in so many different ways. And I just want to say thank you for getting this program's message out there and encouraging others to do exactly what I believe Everybody has a service hero inside of them. And here's an opportunity. If you feel that you don't have the skills, if you feel you need a roadmap, if you feel you need a little bit of a help and a boost, then join this. It sounds like you're going to win off the bat because you're going to get exercises to be working towards something that's going to be taking place. And the competition, the close of registration takes place in March, is it?
March 15th is the last day to get inside the competition for this year.
Okay, so for this year.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to be the Kelly Clarkson of this event, of this company? The very first. Be the very first. Because I'm going to tell you something. We really believe that after this first year, you know, you saw on the screen, you just shared it, and it said ABC, CBS, Fox, and all of that. I believe this show will end up there. And I believe, you know, there will be hundreds of thousands of people. And that's a great thing, because that's hundreds of thousands of messages and people that are now saying, I want mine out there. And so I'm just saying, anybody, if you believe, even for this long, put your foot in that door before it slams shut. Get in there. Get in there and see what happens. This time next year, the world could know your name and hear your voice. And you could be changing the lives of millions of people. So we're just trying to find that person.
I'm willing to sign up. So if others want to sign up with me, let's do this together, Service Heroes community, because you know what? Let's not just say it. Let's get out there and do it. Because it takes
exactly
it takes that forward momentum. And sometimes if you just know that others are doing it, then you're willing to do it. And like you said, don't let that door close without taking that opportunity. It's
important. Let me just say this in closing. I know everybody has seen this. If you turn on your television, you'll see there's another one of those talent shows. Who's the masked singer or whatever? People in masks. And it's like, okay, how many competitions just for singing a song or singing it or doing a dance or whatever, you know? And Sharon Nichols, it's $25. That's it to register and get in and do the entire 5-6 month process. But how many of those shows do we need on television about songs and dances and juggling and all the other? That's great. That's entertainment. But what about these? What about this? What about bringing people to the world and to the forefront that have messages that can change the faces of things that need to be changed in this world? I think we can do the same thing. And you're right. So let's come and let's prove it. Let's prove it. Let's prove it.
I'm willing to prove it. I'm putting the challenge out there. Let's do this, guys. Because, you know, I truly believe it takes a community. It truly takes people that are willing to be like-minded and want to make a difference to make a difference.
Exactly. And to say this is important enough. This is what we need to think more like this. We can't keep the way we've been going.
I love it.
Right. So I'm grateful. Thank you all so much.
All right. We'll see you later. In fact, I think I'm going to be on your show in the morning on Friday, right?
Friday morning, the 4th, correct. 8 a.m. time on Loren Harris.
Okie dokie, guys. All right. We'll put more information out there for that. Thank you, Loren. Have a wonderful day. Okay. Bye-bye.